Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 5 of the Very Veggie challenge. So unfortunately when I recorded this episode I made a stupid mistake and I forgot to unmute the mic. So the whole episode I did not realise this, and it was when I was packing up that I found the button still on mute. So annoyingly I am having to do a voice overlay, so I'm just gonna have to sort of speed through this little portion. We're getting the store up and running and actually opening the business, which is super fun. One thing I did do before starting the recording was I moved the little porch area and made it a little bit more aligned to the pathway. It's still not perfect, but it's better than it was. And here I was just talking about the fact that I'd added in the easy sale gallery labels by Cinematically, and they are from the same creator that did the little labels that we used in the previous episode, but these ones allow for wall hangings and they come in super handy later in the episode. So let's hop into some gameplay. So firstly, Lake is needing some fun, so let's go and get him a bike because this increases their fun super quickly. It's insane how fast it goes up, so it's a little bit of a hack there, but we've still got to buy the bike. So let's go for the bike that is part of the new EP, the Business and Hobbies pack. And of course we've got to get that one in green, and we'll set him off on a little adventure by himself to increase his fun. Fern, on the other hand, is feeling very hungry, so I'm gonna get her to get some leftovers. And by this point, I realised Lake was not going on his bicycle, so I had to move that over for him so that he could ride off and increase the fun. I swear, every time I play something on the slot, they don't like it. One thing I haven't mentioned yet, I completely forgot to say that I downloaded the Panda Sama childbirth mod, so I thought for at least the first child that we have with this family, we'll go down the mod route just to make it a little bit more interesting. So we've gotten Fern to call the obstetrician. She needs to decide whether she wants to give birth via surgery machine, natural delivery, caesarean section, home birth, and then the pregnancy checkups are something completely different to that. So those are the choices, and I felt like Fern would want to go for just a natural delivery at a hospital because their situation, I don't think they're going to be able to buy the birthing pool and everything. I think they would rather go to a hospital, and I'm going to assume they live in a place where they get something like the NHS, so they don't have to pay for their healthcare, so all of this is free to them. So yeah, that made the most sense to me. So we went with that option, and then I just confirmed this option because then that way it is set into the game. That is Fern's preferred birth method. I want to get the ball rolling with the business this episode, so I'm going to register their small business now because we have the money to do it. And I didn't really know what to call it because I was kind of hoping that we would be able to sell a lot more knitted goods, and I had a lot more options for names, but I feel like we can only really do the paintings, the wooden sculptures, and then in the future the jewellery. So I decided just to go with Artisan Emporium. I don't think it's very creative at all, but I just did not know what to go for. So that is the name for now. If anyone has any better ideas, feel free to comment them and maybe I will pick one of them because I just don't know. I'm not vibing with it, but it will work. As for the logos, I do have a mod that allows for a load more logos to be used, so that is what I have installed, but I did just go with the little paintbrush and paint palette. I felt like that was quite fitting and I couldn't find anything else, to be honest, so I settled with that one. I also decided not to have any entrance fees because it didn't really make sense. It's like it's a shop rather than like somewhere that you can go and learn. So I have turned that off and made it just that they browse and buy items. And I'm quickly going to set the room allocations for the business and the residential home. And this is a reminder for future me, I need to put a burglar alarm in the business. So I'm just going to take care of their needs, and then Fern is going to continue her painting. This turned out to actually form part of her soul journey. So basically, she needed to reach level 10 painting, which she has. She needs to paint a masterpiece, which she has. And then she needs to declare that it's life's finest painting. And I noticed the option pop up on this painting, so I quickly went for that so that she could complete that goal, and she did. So Lake is just continuing to do some wooden sculptures for the shop. I would just want to make sure that we have enough on hand so that we can restock them quickly and easily whilst he's at work. And I do also need to get Fern doing some jewelry making, but she's heavily pregnant and her needs are not great. She's super hungry, so she's getting a bite to eat. Then she's going to do a painting quickly just so that we have some paintings on hand as well, and then they're both going to end up jumping into bed and getting a good night's rest because Lake's got work in the morning and I want to open the business, so we have an exciting day ahead of us. Lake's the first one to wake up for the day, so because his needs are actually really quite good, I'm getting him to do his usual and go and do some woodworking, and that way he can again keep the stocks up. Meanwhile, Fern, bless her, is super hungry again. These like pregnancy cravings are really getting to her, so she needs to eat a meal, and then I'm gonna sort of get her to do paintings again. I'm just going to speed through this section because it literally was just them both working hard, crafting their goods, and basically doing that until Lake needs to leave for work. Fern manages to create another masterpiece, which is incredible. So I took this opportunity to go and grab those gallery labels that I was talking about earlier, and I'm going to place them on the wall. You'll see that the label layout that I've done here does not work. You need to have a lot more space, so I corrected that after and fixed that. But yeah, I really like how the paintings look. It makes it properly look like a gallery as you'd expect, but I just love that they could just be put on the wall and you don't have to put them on those silly like boards that take up half the room. So this is great if you want a bit of a space saver, and they work really well actually. And it's time to open the business, guys, so let's get this shop open. And what I did want to do is quickly move my easel in here so I can paint whilst the customers are here. I also want to change up the door because I really did not like the door. It just seemed a bit too open, so I went with this door, which I think looks really cute actually. I also added some signs just to show if the shop is open or closed. I also added in this rug and a little wall planter just because I know customers like a bit of decor in your shop. They seem to like it if you put some effort into the decoration, so I've done what I can with my little budget, and hopefully we can expand and make it look a little bit nicer soon. But yeah, I thought I'd quickly do that before we have our first customer. Our first customer appears to be Chan, and he looks like he's interested in one of our paintings. So let's welcome him to our business and see if we get on and whether we can get him to buy something. And just like that, that is our first sale. And Fern is going to just do a little bit more interaction with him to make him feel quite welcome. However, things then start to go a little bit south and they just don't seem to be vibing. So Fern's just gonna let him do his thing, and by this point I'd realised that the sculptures in the shelves, although I had stopped them, they technically hadn't registered as being for sale, so I needed to go ahead and redo those. I think it might be something with the label, I'm not sure, or maybe it's my game, but if the shop isn't open and you stock them, it just doesn't seem to actually put them up for sale when you open the shop. Blake is back from work now and he's brought home some simoleons, which is really good. So I'm just going to get his fun up. Meanwhile, Fern is trying her best to stock these large bear sculptures, but I didn't give her a table big enough and I went for a load of faff of trying to get her to be able to stock these little bear sculptures, and basically they don't fit on the shelves, they're too big, so I had to pop them on a table with a separate label, and I managed just to get it to work like that. So just bear that in mind if you decide to do woodworking. The larger sculptures don't fit on the shelves. Fern was feeling a bit peckish again, so she's gone off to eat some more food. Lake has decided to come in and speak to some of Fern's new customers. First person he speaks to, they don't have a very good impression of each other, so that's not good. He then speaks to this Geeta lady, and although they don't have a good first impression, he's got a crush on her. I think we're just going to get him to go out and do some woodworking and not end up crushing on a customer of Fern's. And I think it's time to close up the business. So today we earn 6,092 simoleons, which is really quite good for her first day. Our growth opportunities are customer relationship, which makes total sense. Fern didn't really interact with her customers very much, but they did really enjoy the quality of her product. Fern's just going to stock up the gallery quickly. Meanwhile, Lake finds that he's actually really enjoying handiness, so that is good for us. He finds that fun, which is a huge bonus. And then I found these guys that seem to be gossiping about Fern, and I'd love to know what they're on about. Like, what are they saying about our lovely little Fern? I hope it's nice. Lake is cooking up some food and he's gonna go and sit and talk with Fern because his social is a little bit low actually, and he needs to have a good talk with her and discuss the day. And I am noticing as well their romance bar is slightly down, so I'm going to get them to do some nice little flirty interactions just to build that up a little bit. I mean, it's not that low, to be honest, it really isn't. As usual, the first thing I'm getting Lake and Fan to do is get creative in the morning, and whilst doing this, do you guys remember Geeta that turned up in the shop and Lake was insanely attracted to her? Well, she's now no longer alive in The Sims. Like, what the hell? It's almost like Fern knew and went to take care of some business. And then I noticed Fern had this moodlet where she felt like she was around death from losing an acquaintance. Look who else has died. It is our first customer, Chan. Like, I don't understand. Two customers of Fern's went into a shop yesterday and now they're no longer here. Like, the timing of it is quite hilarious. But anyway, let's get Fern's mood up and let's get restocking the shop, get it open and welcoming some customers because we still need to get the shop up to 5 stars. We need to get Fern talking to the customers a lot more as well because that seems to be one of the things that flags up with her shop is that customers don't feel like they have that relationship with her. So we're working on that, but eventually she does get super duper hungry and she needs to go and eat. That'll be the pregnancy there, really taking its toll on her, bless her. I didn't even realise she's in her 3rd trimester, which explains why she's getting so hungry and using the toilet so much. And look who has been promoted to woodworking artists. So Lake got promoted today and he's going to be making 60 simoleons per hour now. So yeah, I think that's really exciting for him and that's a little bit of extra cash for the family. So Fern, I'm going to get to restock the shop and then she is going to do her first piece of jewellery whilst Lake, of course, is doing his never-ending woodwork projects that I get him to do. Maricela has turned up, and this is actually one of Lake's friends. So I'm going to get Lake to go and invite her in and say hello and welcome her to our little shop and home. So it looks like we have our first disruptive customer. So let's go find them and give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll just ask them to stop pranking first, and if it escalates or continues, we'll just have to kick them out. Look at this, guys. We've hit the hopeful hustle for our small business. So we've got 2 perks to use. So for Fern's business, I think it would be really handy if we do the leave a tip perk, and we can do this up to 3 times. So we'll just use both perks on this one, and this should hopefully get us just a few more extra simoleons on any purchase made. Now, I don't know about you, but did you just see that lady pranked Fern and electrocuted her? Like, what the hell? She's a very heavily pregnant lady and he just electrocuted her. But don't you worry, guys, I am kicking this lady out. Like, how dare she? And then all at once we've got Marciella giving us a rare plant seed packet, which is going to come in handy. We also got Elasticception, which I have no idea what that was caused by. And we're going to shut the shop for today as well. And when I clicked on the bed, I've never seen this interaction before, but it says read to baby, which that's so adorable. And I think might have been from the Panda Sama mod. As I said earlier, Lake is quite good friends with Marciella, so let's have a chat with her. And it seems like she's not feeling too great and needs some calming down, so maybe we should try that as like a nice friendly gesture. Meanwhile, poor Fern over here is craving food bad, so I'm gonna let her go and get her craved food. And I think this is the point where I realised, wow, she's in her third trimester. This baby could be here at any point. Going and getting the craved item, although I love the realism of it, it does not fill their hunger bar up very much at all. So I'm going to let her go and have a bubble bath quickly, and then she'll have some more food because, bless her, she is actually still really hungry. Then she'll go to sleep for the night because the day is done. Don't you love it when your Sims just stand there when you're pleading for them to go and use the toilet so that they don't wee themselves? Like, this happens a lot. But whilst I remember, let's get Lake to take family leave because he is due in to work. But I really do feel like Fern does not have long left until that baby is coming. But I think now is an appropriate time to round off this episode. Apologies that this video has followed a bit of a different format, but because I stupidly recorded it with the mic off, I've had to kind of go back and make it make sense with voiceovers. So hopefully I've managed to save it. But I think next episode we will be doing the renovation on Fern and Lake's home because we've got 16 grand now and I really want to give them a better home. So I will be doing a video on that. That will form next episode as a whole. I've put a poll on my YouTube as well asking you guys if you prefer to see speed through builds or like longer videos where you see a bit more in depth, and at the moment it seems like speed builds are the way to go, so I'll probably be following that format. But thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you in the next episode.